What's up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of ASAP, Afrikan Social Activism Playbook. It's almost that time that the actual book will be out soon. I've been working hard behind the scenes, and so hopefully within the next couple of days, we'll have something that is downloadable from our website, and we'll let you guys know what that is, as always, at the end of the show. I am your host, T. Jamal, joined as always by my lovely sister, Michelee. What's going on with you today?
Hello, my good brother. I'm pretty good today. Just had my little lunch. Oh, no, I know you haven't even had breakfast yet, huh?
Just ate a pear.
Okay.
Meant to eat a
Yeah.
pear and a banana and just forgot about the banana.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Shoot. Just, whew. It's been I do my own hair, so I decided to braid instead of hiring somebody. I decided to braid my own hair again, and I said I was gonna take a break from him, but I don't like having to do anything with my hair, especially in the summertime. So, but in the middle of it, I'm like, what did I do? Goodness, 'cause I like to go tiny braids. So I'm like, oh man,
That's
commitment.
funny.
So I'm training myself to stay committed.
Indeed,
But
I
yeah, besides
understand.
that,
I have like a pound, maybe 2 pounds of extra weight sitting on top of my head. So
right.
yeah, so I get it. But yeah, I'm all right. I just heard about this story about this Dion K.
Mm.
Yeah, in Washington, DC, 18-year-old gets shot by the police in what is, the news that's coming out, what was a pursuit. I don't know all the details of why the police were called. I
Mhm.
know Dion K and two other people got away. They ran away, but they were later arrested. But K got shot. So we're waiting for all the details, but it's like we still in this thing, like even if they were in pursuit from the police, right?
Right.
Why is shoot to kill the first thing?
That's what I'm saying.
And that's
That's
the thing, like you're supposed to be trained.
right.
So you're supposed to be able to, you know, shoot to disable or
Hmm.
something, or so many other options.
Right.
So much more than just murder and killing people, dead. So
Right.
18 years old, not an opportunity to, make young mistakes and correct them later in life and whatever. We'll figure out
Right.
the rest of the details. That's not my concern. My
Yeah.
concern is another black person killed by the police. And it's and everybody's gonna try to frame it in whatever way they want to. Frame this. Dylan Roof walks into a church, kills 9 people, gets arrested, is still alive today. Before he goes to jail, he gets Burger King.
Right.
So, however you want to frame it, just keep that in mind. So, I mean, that's on my brain. I woke up to it just scrolling through YouTube as I usually do in the morning to get all of my news, sports, movies, important stuff, politics, just reading headlines, and then I'll watch a video if something interests me. And then that one came up. I was like, come on.
Yeah.
Again,
It's
another one.
sickening. It's sickening how often it's happening. And I was just thinking about like how what can we do really? Like what are the things that need to be done to get this like to stop this action like immediately, right? Because
Yeah,
again, like you said, like they're not supposed to be the judge, jury, and executioner,
right.
like it's crazy. Like because we'll be sad about it, we'll be upset about it, but at that point, that person has already lost their life.
Yeah, it's over.
So it's like you can't reverse it. You know what I mean? Even talking about compensating the families or whatever,
Right. There's
it's
no
already done.
retribution.
Exactly. And so I'm wondering, like, what are the petitions or, who do we need to be seeing about this to actually get rid of this right now? Because these police officers are just too comfortable with executing us. And again, it's all of these cases. It's been, while the person is unarmed, or with the person, they're getting shot in the back, and it's like, come on, man. It's a clear disregard for our life. We
Yeah.
already knew that, but the fact that they're so comfortable doing it, happening so frequently, it's just, oh my God, it's sickening.
Yeah, it's just like, at the addition of every new case, every new situation is just another weight. It's like you're putting on weights on top of weights on top of weights, and you just
Right.
carrying it around and just lugging it. And to answer your question, what can we do in the immediacy, is a difficult one to answer. Like, we're going to encourage everybody watching this to go vote, but not just vote, right?
Right.
Know who you're voting for. It is September. So we have a couple of months before November. Actually, don't just worry about Biden and Kamala, okay? Because
Exactly.
we're going to vote on that. That's cool. But in your local elections, know the stances of the person running for sheriff.
Right.
Know the stances of the people. Judges, only the Supreme Court is appointed in lifetime. Judges, circuit court judges, the appeals court judge, we vote for them. We vote for the district attorneys. We vote on a lot of these positions, know where they stand. Demand when they're in office that they actually meet some of these agendas. When we talk about the Black agenda, we can talk federally, but it takes so much time to change things on a federal level. But you can elect people on your local level and then tell them what you want to see done, and we can get those things actually happening. What were you saying?
Yeah, I just always think about how we view politics sometimes, especially being the victims of, a lot of the things that's going on. We tend to like let politics happen to us instead of realizing that we have a say in it, right? Or, we can mobilize. We might feel like we don't have a lot of political power, a lot of, economic power or whatever, but clearly, the fact that everybody comes and panders for our vote, it shows that we have some power. We just have to just really just pay attention to what's going on. I think, and those of us, especially, who know a lot more, and, because politics is not one of those subjects that, that a lot of people really try to catch up on, especially if they feel discouraged, feeling that it's all corrupt, so a lot of people are not actively trying to learn, the whole political game and the structure and the process and stuff. So I think we need, those of us who do know more, we need to learn how to put it in the language that's digestible for people, or at least guide them to be like, put up some bullet points, like, we need to get behind this person because they would be the most, beneficial, or, the most cooperative, person for us to work with. And these are the values, these are the things, so at least let's come up with our list of people or things that we want to go after, like, we just have to make it digestible, for the people, and letting them know that we do have some type of power in this system. It's not only federal elections. There are, the local elections. These are things you're feeling immediately, and I think it's a lot of us don't connect on a lot of it, don't really get into the local stuff, because it is, depending on where you are, everyone is not in Chicago, everybody's not in LA, everybody's not in Atlanta, so what's going on there locally, it's not, the whole world usually doesn't find out about it, unless it's something real horrible or something real good, but there's so much stuff going on in our individual cities and towns and states, and we just have to be involved.
I had never heard of Ferguson, Missouri before Mike Brown, right? And clearly they have been, like, the outcry was started because of the Mike Brown killing, but
Mm-hmm.
when you heard the people talk, they were talking about so much more than just that
Right.
situation. They were
Right.
talking about a history of dealing with those types of things. And
Exactly.
living in the country, I never heard of this place. Didn't even know black people lived in Missouri like that.
Right.
And it was
Right.
like, you know what I
That was
mean?
my
So it's
feeling
like
too.
such a disconnect. But because that was happening in little towns like that, and like you said, everybody's not in a metropolis.
Mm-hmm.
We have power. We have an element of control over what is happening in our immediate surroundings, in
Right.
our region. And so we have to make sure that voting is not the end of the line. Voting
Mm-hmm.
is the start. And I mean, if you look at a race, if you run in the 100-yard dash and you get to the blocks and you just get in position, and then the gun fires, and then you kind of just juke, that's voting. Running the rest of it is actually understanding your position as a constituent. Your constituency goes beyond the polls, and that means that you can set the agenda. You can write letters to these people once they're in office. You can write emails. Their phone numbers to their office is public knowledge. You can call.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that we can do is do like a calling campaign. Get
Right.
30 people that are going to send the exact same email. It's like a retweet. If you retweet something 30 times, it starts to trend. If you
Yeah.
get 30 different unique numbers, different voices, different people to call the same politician, the same
Right.
office, call, email, and write letters, all 30 of you guys saying the same thing, the same agenda, it will
Right.
get somebody's attention.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
then use that 6 degrees of separation. Have 30 people. You might know 30 people. Somebody knows 30 people. Then those
Mm-hmm.
30 people know 6 other people, right? And then you just spread it out like that. If we're gonna do, like, you see all these different multi-level marketing businesses where you bring 2 people on and you can get this. Do that with your constituency. Bring 2
Right.
people on and say, hey, I'm about to write a letter to this person.
Mm-hmm.
You bring 2 more people. You tell 2 other people, I'm going to call on this day. All right, we're going to set what? November 8th is call day. Let's see if we
Yeah.
can get 50 to 100 people to call back to back to back to back.
Right. You're gonna get their attention.
Exactly. So you plan things like this. You call the sheriff, you call the police station, you call to talk to the sergeants and whoever the higher ups are, the ones with the stripes on their shoulders. We're not talking to blue shirts, right? We're talking to white shirts. All of this is within our rights as citizens. We only talk
Exactly.
about our rights when we get to court. We only
Mm-hmm.
know the First Amendment. We know the Fifth Amendment only barely. We don't even really know the
Right. We
wording.
don't know
We
the
just know
whole
to
thing.
plead the
Yeah.
Fifth. Just know
Mm-hmm.
that you can't self-incriminate yourself. A lot of people don't even know that much. They just know they can say, I plead the Fifth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So learn the Bill of Rights. If we're gonna stay here, like if we're gonna be black in the United States, we gotta at least know what the rules of the land are and
Exactly.
hold their
Exactly.
feet to the fire.
Mm-hmm.
Like, understand how deep and powerful your rights are and your constituency is. And it's not something that you alone can do. You
Mm-hmm.
have to get with other people.
Right.
The thing is, you can't just get discouraged because it's like, oh, there's nothing to do. Well, if there's nothing to do, we may as well stop talking and stop complaining about these things too.
We might as well just drink that Kool-Aid and all go out together. Like if we just gonna sit here and take it, like if we, you know what I mean? Like I don't get the point of continuously complaining about these things. We
Right.
want to be upset. We want to stay in a stage of in a state of rage and disappointment, and like when are we gonna stop letting that frustration and the fear and all of that stuff paralyze us to where we cannot move? It's
Yeah.
hard, it's frustrating, it's sickening,
And
it's
we can't wait.
but we have to move. What are
We
we
can't
going to
wait
do
for
next?
them to propose some bill to appease us, because that's what we
Right.
did in 94 with that crime bill. We were talking
Yeah.
about, we were concerned about violence in our communities, right? Gang
Mm-hmm.
violence and all those things. And so a lot of Black people actually were agreeing with
Mm-hmm.
the initial little bits that they were telling us about the crime bill that
Right.
massively incarcerated so many Black people.
Because
The
people
thing
needed
is,
solutions.
but
They
we
wanted to
didn't
see the
come up
crime
with it.
stop. Yeah.
And we didn't come up with it. We allowed them to ruminate and then present something to us. That's
Mm-hmm.
not how this works. We said
Exactly.
this before. We're the puppeteers. The
Yes.
politicians are the puppets. If you're allowing the puppets to present something to you, that's backwards.
Mm-hmm.
We're supposed to present to them, this is our agenda. Now, we voted you into this position to get at that table so that you can make this happen.
Right.
You're the representative of this collective.
Mm-hmm.
And this is how we want to be represented. So we
But
have to tell them what our agenda is. And if we don't have one, we can't be upset that nothing gets done for us. This is how
right.
this works. Well, all we're doing is just breaking it down to you about how this actually works. We have to
Mm-hmm.
tell them what to do. They're just sitting there. Honestly, like we've seen Congress sitting there like on Twitter, on Facebook, because C-SPAN is just watching Congress
Right.
in session.
Just
And I
sitting
was
down,
sat
right?
there, they just sitting there chilling.
They could be scrolling on their social media or whatever, just chilling. But
If
that's
you
the thing,
don't
like
give them a
the
mandate, they
language.
won't do anything. Go ahead.
Exactly. The language that we use around, like, discussing politics and stuff, and especially during these times, it's always during a federal election, you see a lot of people's frustrations come out, and just reluctant to, like, to go for support any politician or, whoever. It's just people voicing their opinions and their thoughts on this whole system. But what I always see, and it annoys me, but I understand, because at one point, I didn't understand the process. I didn't know that we did have, more power in it. We had more say. And so I can understand how some people might feel like it feels hopeless, even when we do try, but again, like when
Yep.
we discuss our elders and our ancestors who fought long and hard, but didn't see the end anywhere near, right? We're reaping the benefits of the work that they did, and right now, like a lot of the things that they fought for, they're being rolled back. And I think because we lost the sense of responsibility that we have in it. Like it wasn't supposed to just end after civil rights. It wasn't, oh, we have rights. Like, first of all, you have to realize, like, we had to push for human rights. You know what I mean? Like the right to be um considered a human being, then just it's not just about liberty. We have to just really understand what we want out of it, and understand the process. Like you said, learn the rules. If we're going to be here on the court, we have to learn the rules of the game. You can't sit here and just get scored on the whole time, but it's not even like we're the opponent being scored against. It's like we're the ball that's just being just like beaten around the court. And it's like, when are we going to learn that we need to really just take control of our situation, and not, again, talking about, well, what this politician did or didn't do for us, and another, we talked about
Mm-hmm.
Claude Anderson a few days ago, Dr. Claude
Yeah.
Anderson. And one thing I remember hearing him explain, he was saying he had like a whole deadline, a whole timeline for how we needed to make progress and how we need to make it soon, right? And that he was saying that because it's so many other minority groups, or so-called minority groups, that are coming into the country, and they're fighting, for their own rights and privileges and things like that. And you also have to realize that's a whole nother labor force, created. So we're technically not even really needed. You know what I mean? It's like, but we're the only people. He was saying, it was so deep. He was saying that we're the only people there that's like immigrants, but we can't be deported. Where they gonna deport us to? Where we gonna get sent to? So basically, that explains how we're being slaughtered. You know what I mean? They don't even know what to do with us anymore. We're not going to be there. We're not there trying to. Well, we are trying. I'm not
And
going to
that's
say we're
been the
not
case.
trying, but we need to. We just need to take control of our own situation, our own destiny, instead of waiting. We cannot wait.
Yeah, we just need more understanding. One of my favorite words is YET. Yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yet is a word of those who are hopeful. You
Right.
see things that are coming. It hasn't happened yet. It is yet to come.
Mm-hmm.
It will happen. We have
Yeah.
this platform. We have ASAP. We have this so that people can listen to it live, listen to it on the replay, and understand and actually take plays and enact them. Nothing
Right.
about this show is supposed to be passive. It's supposed to just be, played in the background. Listen, take action.
Yeah.
Listen, take action. This is not, and I feel like you mentioned like sports and basketball. If everybody knows the Harlem Globetrotters, right? And they only play one team, the Washington Generals. The Washington Generals know that every time they step on the court, they about to lose, right? Because it's not their show. We,
Right.
as the Black community, cannot be the Washington Generals. We have to upset the way that this is going. And
Right.
knowing the rules of the game is just part of it. Voting is step one. Actually, voting is actually step
What?
two. Knowing the
Right.
rules of the game is step one. Then
Mm-hmm.
you vote. Then voting is step three. So know the rules of the game. Step one. Step two, set your agenda in your community. Step three, vote based around that agenda. Step four, hold whoever gets elected accountable to your agenda. Like we said, I don't care who wins what election.
Exactly.
I know who I'll support,
Mm-hmm.
but whoever wins the election is
We have
going
to
to
push
hear
them.
from me.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to know me. They're going to know my name. They're going to know my email address. They're going to know my phone number. They're going to know all of that because I am going to be dialing them. And I'm going to bring some people along with me. Like while we're talking, we talk ourselves into these actions. I'm writing up plays right now. When I just talked about that 30 people, when I just talked about that multi-level marketing, that's something that's about to go into the social activism playbook.
Okay.
And it's something that I'm about to start doing. Like, and we don't even have to wait to the election. There are people holding office still right now. So I'm going to start this week.
Right.
I'm going to create a WhatsApp group with people that I respect. I'm going to say, hey guys, we are going to call these people on this day. And we're all going to call them with this agenda. And then every 2 weeks, we're going to call somebody else. And even if you don't live in the same city as somebody, just have them call. They don't know with cell phones now and how mobile everybody is. It's people in Atlanta with 917 area codes. It's people in Atlanta with 504s. It's people in Atlanta with 213s. It's people in New York with 404s.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter anymore.
It really doesn't.
Just say, I need 100 people. We calling this person in Atlanta. We calling the person in Ferguson. We calling the person in LA. We're calling the mayor. We're calling the police chief. We're calling
Mhm.
the district attorney. We're calling the circuit court judge.
Right.
And this is what we're saying. All right. Before we call, we're going to do a day of sending emails to that address. Then we're going to call. Then we're going to write letters on the day that, we sent the emails out. So by the time the day that we call, the letters will show up.
Right.
And they're going to like, oh, they're serious. Because emails can be ignored. You're going to see a physical letter. You're going to see 30
Yeah.
to 100
Mhm.
letters that people actually bought stamps for. And all the stamps are going to be Malcolm X stamps and Black
Okay.
Lives Matter stamps or whatever,
Right.
what I'm saying, Black History
It's
stamps that
definitely
they
gonna catch
make.
the eye.
Like,
Mhm.
we're going to make, and this has to be consistent. Everything that we do in African Unity Initiative is about sustainability and consistency. It's about creating an institution, something that people can actually say, oh, this is what I can do. And
Right.
all of this, Corona can't stop any of this. All of this is virtual anyway.
Right.
Like, the protests are necessary, but we also need the background working. This is what the strategy that we're missing from what happened and what came before,
And
right?
that's the thing though, is that, like, a lot of times again I see a lot of these questions and concerns coming from people, especially in our community, because they're tired, they're frustrated, they've been seeing a lot of the same activities, for years, for decades. And people are
True.
like, they're tired of seeing, well, what is voting going to do? Then why are we still marching and this and that? We need all of these things to be working together. It's not
Yes.
going to
It's
be
not
one
one or
easy.
the
We don't
other.
have to, exactly. It's not one of those things where it's like, well, let's drop this and, pick up this next. No, the strategy includes all of these different components. We just have
which
to
is
know how to use them and be
which is
consistent.
why
Again.
that's the reason that I'm so adamant about bringing value to different strengths. Every leader isn't the vocal person, isn't the
Exactly.
person in the front. There are
Hmm.
leaders who their strength is running point from behind the scenes.
Hmm.
Like, let's take it back to sports. The leader of the team on the field, on offense in football, is the quarterback. The leader on the team on the field on defense is usually the middle linebacker. But then there's also a head coach who is on the sidelines. The head coach don't play, but the head coach puts the strategy in the ear of the quarterback and the middle linebacker to know what plays to run. So
Right.
you got the voice. We have the Malcolm X type figure, the Martin Luther
Hmm.
King type figure, but you need the Ella Bakers calling the plays from the sidelines, saying this is the strategy. This is
Right.
how we're going to run point.
Exactly.
Call the timeout. Okay, redraw up this play. Okay, 2-minute scenario. This is what we do when we don't have enough time. This is what we do when we got all the timeouts and we got 12 minutes left on the clock. This is what we do at 30 seconds. Okay, you need a field goal kicker. Well, all they do is come into the game when you need them.
Right.
It's not to devalue their position. It's to understand your strengths and to play to help the entire team win. So when
Right.
we talk about the protests, those are the front people. That's the front line,
And
right?
they're
We
needed.
need those people. We need those voices.
Hmm.
We need everybody out there, the people who make the signs look professional. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, you think all this stuff is little. If you go out there
Right.
with a janky looking sign, it's not going to catch attention.
And people who need to distribute the materials to, what I mean, the information, there's so many different layers to it, so many different, and that's the thing which you just
Mm-hmm.
said, bringing up the sports, the example using sports. We have to think about it as a team. Like, we are also oppressed as a team, right? As a whole group. It's going to take all of us to fight it, and that's the thing, and we already know this. same strategy that's been used over and over and over is that divide and conquer, right? So when
Mm-hmm.
some of us feel that, well, we're not on the same level as those people down there,
Yep.
then we start to separate ourselves. We start to say, well, we're not like those black people or those black, and that gets really, really dangerous because now we separated ourselves and we given the people, who wants to oppress us all, we're giving them, we're just giving them ammunition. We're
We're
giving them
weakening
we're
our
showing them
own forces.
exactly.
We're
We're
making
showing
ourselves
them our
vulnerable.
vulnerable spot, our soft spot.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
When we allow them to divide and conquer, back to football, we pretty much just say, you know what, offensive line, y'all just go stand over there on the sideline. It's just gonna be the quarterback, the wide receivers, and the running back,
Leave them wide open.
and just and just have the quarterback have the ball in his hand already. No center to hike the ball. Just have the defense just have free reign
Right.
and just kill the play from the beginning. So it's so much that we can do.
Hmm.
And like we call this the social activism playbook, the Afrikan Social Activism Playbook. And we also call it ASAP because it's stuff that we're telling you these are things that can be done. We're drawing up the plays as we talk, and we are about to enact them. Like I said, check for me in the next couple of days, not weeks, days,
Yeah.
while I put together this group of 30. I have a reach of at least 30 people.
Hmm.
That 30, with people being tasked to bring on 1 to 2 other people, that 30 can turn into 100 by what's today? Thursday. By
Hmm.
Saturday. By Saturday, I should be able to reach 100 people. We should be able by Monday to agree on an agenda and then start writing letters, agree on a day to do these phone calls, and then we can start doing it. We can pick one day out of the week every week to say, all right,
Right.
this week is this little community of New York, this community of DC, this community of Detroit, this community of Chicago, this community of LA, this community of Houston, this community of New Orleans, and then just keep going around until we hit different communities in each of those key cities. And then we add more people. And the more
Hmm.
people we have, the more pressure we're gonna put. And they're gonna
Right.
like, they bought something. Oh, they know the rules. Oh, snap, we're gonna have to do some work. Oh, they pulling the
Yep.
string.
Yep.
Because we, the puppeteers, have been lulled to sleep by the puppets.
Right.
It's backwards. So that's our political rant for the day. We haven't even gotten into the show.
Because it's serious. It's serious, man. And it becomes a point where it's like, I mean, unfortunately, we do catch a lot of this, frustration and stuff because we're tired of seeing the same things. We're tired of the same old script, but we also have to know, when the act, like we should always be moving. We should always be working towards
Yep.
something. Again, that's why the agenda is important. Like when you get the syllabus, right? You can see what you have to do. You see what you have coming, right? So you
Yep.
already know what to expect and which you should be working towards. And we just have to always keep these things in mind. Don't wait until someone disappoints you to start, to one business disappoints you to start supporting Black
Exactly.
businesses. Like
Yep.
these are some things should just already be a
It has
priority.
to
We
be.
need to be making it a priority right now, instilling in our children so they grow up knowing that it's the priority. And just to
Yep.
keep it fresh in our minds, just to keep it to where it's not even like work, right? Because for some of us, it's hard even thinking about the idea, well, how am I going to find, all these Black businesses? I got to do so much research, and we have apps. We have people who have made it very easy. We have
Yep.
apps and page,
It
social media pages, all types of
there
things to
are
direct us.
Black owned business directories on top of Black owned business directories.
Right.
Like
Shout
since
out to Jasmine with the Black Wallet too. Yeah, one of
the
our
Black
Georgia State. Yeah, one of our Georgia
okay,
State.
the Black
Mhm.
Wallet, you have just in Atlanta, you have the Atlanta Black Chamber. We have a full Black business directory. There's the U.S. Black Chamber that has a full list of directories of all the national Black chambers that fall up under their jurisdiction. There are so many other ones. There's We Buy Black. There's so many, right? People have put in the work,
right,
of creating these directories, and if we don't
to
support
make
them,
it easier
then
for
we
us.
have to. And even complaining about, oh, it's going to take me 2 more seconds, or it's going to cost
Right.
me $2 more. Look, sacrifice is that. So
That's what we
either,
need to do.
because when we talk about this political power and taking that back, we also need economic power. And this week we're talking about the power of ownership. Like, we spoke a little to it yesterday when we were talking about Tyler Perry Studios and just how influential and powerful just the reality of that is, right? And how much we in Hollywood should be supporting that. And overall, just having our own means it makes them work that much more harder to take it away. Right? They have to commit actual crimes to take away that power. When we own it, we say when it starts and stops. We set the schedule. We set the prices. We do all of these things. We set the structure of the business. So it is, and not even just ownership in the sense of business. When we talk about the fact that gentrification is happening in every Black community globally, we're talking about in the Caribbean, on the continent of Africa, in the US. Everywhere where we are, people are trying to move us off our own land.
Right.
If we own it, now, if we own land, if you own your home, if you own not only, and think about it like this, you're like, yeah, I own my business, but I don't own the plaza that the business is in. Okay, so how about you get a cooperative, and then every Black owned business get with a group of 6 other business owners and buy the plaza together.
Right. That's the thing, is together. You just said the key word, like right there, is understanding also, the unity part in it. Like we have to think about, again, moving as a group. We have to move even when we vote as a block. You don't just vote to your individual interests. You know what I mean? When you're a part of an oppressed group, you have to vote as a block to be really effective, especially as, with smaller numbers. We're not, again, like you said, we're not like the majority in the country. It's a good number of us, but then you also got to count the fact that a lot of us are, don't even have a right to vote anymore, been disenfranchised. You got to consider all other, just factors in that. And so we have to think about moving as a block, a voting block, moving as a group, like you said. And I think even it would be very wise of us to, because a lot of times we want to start just different ventures and stuff on our own when we already have a lot of small, pieces and parts here and there. And it's like, we can also think to join together, find somebody who's doing exactly what you want to do, who's doing at least very similar. You can work together, especially, we talk about in the same communities, people that you might, just kind of, come across in your area, and y'all on the same stuff. So why not join together? I think a lot of times we just don't even reach out to people, and there's something, it's more things behind that. I think, to where everyone is not just so eager to work with each other, but we have to start thinking like that, and it's going to take sacrifice too. You might be uncomfortable, but we got to get it done.
Yeah, and we talked about so many things that inhibit us, right? It's not all lack of knowledge. Sometimes we have a lack of trust of one another.
Right.
But we have to get beyond that. We got to get past that. Honestly, it's just, we have to learn that we are so much stronger together. It's not cliche, right? It's just the truth. And like we always say, we're not telling people to not be aware, but we have to stop
Right.
being so overly critical of one another. It's not productive. It doesn't
Not at
bring
all.
progress. So, you know, there's power in ownership. And I wanted to highlight today somebody who's still with us, and you may be surprised. Master P is one of the most influential people that I have ever come across, been just introduced to the story. I remember learning about Master P and the way he constructed his record deal with
Mhm.
Priority Records way back in Master P came on the scene for me around like late 95, 96 is when it really like took off. No
Mhm.
Limit was the really the biggest rap label for us in Atlanta. It was bigger than Death Row. It was bigger than Bad Boy in 96. It was Master P. And when we heard about the structure of the deal, and I'm in elementary school, and but Vibe Magazine, Source, they're talking about it. Landmark record deal, getting 80% of the take and giving the record label 20%. And even at a young age of like maybe 8 or 9, that started resonating with the people because I had an older brother, so he understood it a little more. And then they were talking about it. And so I was like, oh, snap. Oh, that's dope. And they were saying nobody else had a record deal like that. And that, once they saw how much money he could make, nobody else would, they wouldn't do it again. But he
Mhm.
made sure that everybody with him understood. And I remember watching the interview with Master P, and he was talking about Jimmy Iovine offered him $1 million.
Right.
And he had taken his brother C Murder to him with him to the meeting. And he said
Mhm.
he had $500 in his pocket. He just offered and got a check cut, not just an offer. The check was written and signed, $1 million. And he left it on the table. And he said, Jimmy told him, if you walk out this door, this deal is off the table. And he walked out. And he was like, because he first said, let me get back to you. Let me think about it. Then Jimmy, hit him with the Shark Tank threat. If you
Right.
don't take the offer in 2 seconds, it's gonna come off the table, right? Trying to intimidate him. And he was like, okay, then. If it's like that, then he just got up and left.
Right.
And then he said his brother was mad at him the rest
But
of the
not
flight
taking
home.
it.
He was
Yeah.
like, man, what's wrong with you? That was $1 million. I ain't never seen that many zeros. And Master P said, if he is willing to pay me $1 million, that
I know
means
what I'm
he's
worth.
gonna
More.
get that much more from it. I must be
Mhm.
worth more than $1 million.
Right.
He's willing
Right.
to he already had the check cut. Yeah, we can do
It
this.
was
And
nothing to him.
that was all he needed, was that inspiration to see that, okay, this can work,
Mhm.
because had already had songs on the radio. He was already moving. So it was just, every time Master P stops and starts talking, I'm listening,
Right.
because he spits so much game and he gives it out for free. And it's
Percy
like, yeah,
Miller, Percy Miller is I mean, that is the ultimate boss. I've always admired him, and just his mindset. And I remember hearing him years ago talk about how he left that deal on the table. And just, I mean, it teaches you so much. I just mentioned yesterday about like how a lot of us don't even know that we can request more, on our salary, and
yeah,
asking for certain things and demanding certain things. And he just really showed that. And also just his fearlessness. Like, he's like, I don't care if people call me corny. He like, I'm making my money. He has his audience. He has, people who are constantly supporting and watching what he does. More importantly, I think, I'm looking at how many other people are inspired by him. Just he's constantly, he's a serial entrepreneur, right? Like this man, he has everything from clothes, shoes, food products,
Food.
music, movies, everything. He had food, right? And it's like, and he's a genius, because it's like everybody got to eat. They're buying these products, and it's funny, we mentioned how he got the pancakes and the rice and stuff now. Same manufacturers, right? We got the same
Right.
people. You got the same quality of product and everything. Noodles. Everybody eats noodles,
Mm-hmm.
But
And
I
people
mean,
swear
he's
by the rap
thinking
snack
that much. I
chips.
know.
They say they better than.
I had the rap snacks chips too. I had a few of them. But I mean, but he's really just smart and ambitious, and I think just seeing him, like, he's just such an entrepreneur, and he was one of the people that I saw, as far as like being a celebrity. One of the people that I saw that's like, well, you can create your own lane. You don't have to think that, well, just because you don't see a lot of us here, don't mean that you don't belong here, or that you can't create your own, pull up. If they don't pull a seat up for you at the table, bring your own chair, and
Make your own
I'm
table.
like, exactly. Even more important than that, you don't have to sit at
And
their table.
exactly. And that's the thing. Like, so, everything is in sync with each other. No Limit Records, Master P built an empire. And I love talking about No Limit because, and he talked about this, he didn't call it, gangster records. He didn't call it, this and that. No limit. We just talked about people not knowing that you can ask for extra money, people not knowing that you can do this or not knowing that you can do that. We put constrictions, limitations on ourselves. Even when we're being the most hopeful, we say the sky is the limit.
Yeah.
That's still a
What's
limit.
beyond the sky? Right. What is beyond the sky?
Master B
Gotta be
said
something out
no
there.
limit, no limit, which is why it makes sense that he has shoes, food,
Everything.
clothes,
And it's crazy because
music.
when you think about it, there are a lot of other corporations, like a lot of, big name corporations. They have their hands in like Nestle is not only, we know Nestle, mostly for like candy, or, what I
They
mean, or
make
something like
water.
that. They have their hands in so many different things. A
I,
lot of these companies, they have their hands in so many different things. You'll find labels like, what they got to do with this,
I
And
saw
I
a
think, and that's
advertisement
empowering.
on the train one day, and it said GE, GE products,
Mm-hmm.
and it had all the General Electric products up there, and it was toilet paper,
Yeah.
light bulbs, battery. I was like, none of this has anything to do with each other. And it was like they diversified their business. I always say this about African Unity Initiative. I said, I want people to be confused about how to describe the organization. Just like
Mhm.
if you ask somebody what Google's business plan is, what is Google as a company? What do they do? What does Amazon do? Everything.
Right.
Like, that's pretty much all you can say. Google
Right.
does
That's true.
everything. Amazon does
Because they got phone service, they
everything.
have phone search engine, phone service, internet, like all different types of
Internet.
things.
They make hardware. They make
Hmm.
software. They own
That is
YouTube.
so true. That
They
is so
buy
true.
everything. So
And
if we can
Amazon now,
accept it,
it's a streaming platform. It's all kind of,
it's streaming.
we have
It's
the power to
it's
do it.
delivery. It started off as a bookstore online. Now you don't even remember that they sell books half the time. Like
Well,
they
I
got
only
the
know because I
Kindle,
use a Kindle. Right. I
right?
got a Kindle.
But
That's how
they have the Kindle, and now that's pretty much all you use for their books. You can still buy them on Amazon.com, but now you're buying
right.
groceries. They own Whole Foods. They actually own a fleet of delivery trucks. They now
Right.
own drones. The point is, no limit. And we as Black people can't, laugh at Master P because he didn't put any limitations on himself or us as we watch him do it. No Limit Films. I got the hookup. I got the hookup too. I'm About It. All these movies. And he's still
Right.
producing them. And it just keeps going and going. And I just want to, talk about No Limit for a minute, because a lot of the stuff that he did was take people from his actual. So he moved out of New Orleans because he was getting into too much trouble, right?
Yeah.
On the streets. It got too hot for him. It was getting dangerous, and he had just had a baby. So he was like, I can't keep doing this and, be a father. So let me move my family out to California, not knowing that the area of California he moved to was just as
Right.
gangster.
Okay.
But, people knew him in New Orleans, so he had to get out. And then he got tried to get his 3 brothers out. He was able to get his 2 younger brothers out. One younger brother just wouldn't listen, but he also got some other up and coming rappers in New Orleans out of their environment to see something fresh, to see something new, get engulfed in the music and tell your story that way. He saved their lives. Like, he literally saved lives of people, because unfortunately, the brother that didn't listen stayed in the life that he was living in New Orleans and got murdered. And so everybody who was on No Limit was from New Orleans, or most of them were from New Orleans, and were like getting into trouble and doing all these things. And he actually got them out of those situations to focus on the music and then see, okay, there's something bigger than what I'm seeing right now. Right. Snoop Dogg talks about how he literally saved his life. And, Snoop was about to create this and paid money, paid extra, because Suge didn't want to let him go. He was still under contract. He was like, all right, how much you need? He said something like $6 million. Master P paid something like $8 million. He just put an extra little sauce on it. It was like, look, I understand this is valuable. And Snoop says that he learned everything he knows about business from Master P. His time with No Limit helped him be the diversified Snoop Dogg that we know now.
Yeah.
Because now we know Snoop with Martha Stewart. We know Snoop lying. Snoop was, America's Most Wanted. Ain't nothing but a gangster party, right? And now he's on broadcast TV, smiling and dancing. I ain't never seen Snoop smile in the 90s.
Stewart.
Right.
Yeah.
So just that rebrand and that influence of just
Nipsey,
having a
with
label.
With Marathon, with Marathon clothing. He always talked about how, Master P was an inspiration to him.
Yep. And Master P talked about Nipsey.
No Limit of the West.
The relationship, the relationship that they were building, and just wishing he had more time. And so, we talk about this social activism playbook, and y'all like, they talking about Master P and No Limit. Don't frown your face up. These people influence can come in all forms, which is why we can't be so tight and constricted in what we see as a leader.
Yes, he is definitely. That's the thing, though, is because we talked about before, we have so many different voices. He has the reach. He can relate. He came from the projects. A lot of us come from the projects, still live in the projects. That's somebody you can listen to. That's somebody you can relate to and say, wow, he really came from here. And he's really with that mindset. That's priceless. And for him to be actually pulling people up with him as he's climbing, like, we need to really just value those type of people and like give them their flowers while they're here. So like Percy Miller, we salute you, brother. Like I'm hoping that I will hope that I can work with him one day. It's just so much to learn from him, and people like him, who are being the change. Again, you just mentioned how we're used to, or we want somebody, we want to define like what this leader should look like, sound like. He's a leader. This is a leader. This is somebody who's doing. And a lot of times we need somebody who can see the vision without us seeing it there.
And just like Malcolm Little became Malcolm X, we have to allow people to grow.
Yes.
Master P, we saw young P. We saw, but the thing that I like, so I'll deconstruct it, is everything is related today. So just get used to it. All today this is the No Limit episode. So Master P just did a 5-episode docuseries on BT called The No Limit Chronicles. And I couldn't wait to watch it. I didn't have cable. I was like, dang, why wasn't this on Netflix? But I got cable for like one of those online subscription services just so I could get BT to watch this. Once I finished, I canceled it. Yeah. But just the entire story, the inspiration from the beginning, just seeing how it all came together and how it all played out was, just that much more inspirational on top of what I already knew.
Right.
Like knowing that he had been in the game in Richmond, California from like 89. And he was rapping all the way back then in the Bay Area. He knew like E40. E40's was it grandfather or uncle was like his first connect to get on the radio. He owned a record store. No Limit Records started off as just a record store selling other people records.
An actual store, right? A record store. He was he played in the NBA too for 2 different. He played for the Raptors.
Oh yeah,
and the,
he played for the Raptors and the Hornets.
Yeah, like
I was gonna get there. There was a thing though. No Limit. He said, "Look, because Master P was a highly touted prospect coming out of high school, but his grandfather passed away, and no. What happened was he went off to college, and he injured his leg, and so he talked about having that long bus ride home after I don't think he lost his scholarship, but he couldn't play anymore. And something happened where he had to come back to New Orleans. And then he just kind of felt stuck. But he was like one of the top touted prospects coming out of high school going into college. And he played with a lot of the guys who were in the NBA from high school. So he knew them. And when he tried out for the NBA, everybody was like, bro, you a big rapper. What are you doing? And he wasn't even getting paid that much money. He was like a multi-millionaire getting paid the minimum salary in the NBA. And he was like, whatever, I'm going to show and prove that I actually deserve to be here. I'm going to do whatever it is that I need to do. And so he was able to humble himself in that arena. And he talked about the fact that his line in the autograph line was longer than even the stars on the team. And so it's just, he didn't put any restrictions around what he wanted to do. If he sought after something, he went after it. The inspiration to draw from that, even within the music, there is, and he talked about his album Ghetto Dope, right? And talked about how he was telling the rappers on the label No Limit, who some of them were, ex-drug dealers. He was like, think about this music like the dope game. And instead of slanging dope, slang music. And that's how he ended up selling CDs out of his trunk. He was like, I don't need to hustle. I don't need to hustle illegal. I can hustle legal.
Yeah.
Like I can take the same business acumen that is making me not mess up the count in drugs and have enough for the re-up and have enough for the sale that I can do legally.
Right.
And that's one of the things I loved about
take
watching
the risk
The Wire.
Out of it.
taking the risk out of it, but also valuing the knowledge that takes place to even be in that illegal business. So it's about value, right? We need to bring value to people. How do you speak life into somebody who's doing something that you don't agree with? Show them that the same principles that you are doing with this negative thing, I respect this part of it. Like, a lot of people don't respond from negative reinforcement. If you can show them, I respect this, I see that you are able to do this, show them their ability, and then show them how they can rearrange that ability in a new environment and then still be productive, right? And probably make even more. And like you said, take all the risk away. So it's about seeing value in what people are doing. This is how we need to talk to the young people. This is how we talk to youth. This is how, instead of saying what you're doing is bad, what you're saying is bad. See the value in what they're doing. See where their strengths are. See, okay, you're doing this in that way, but you could be using that strength to do this. The same way, guess what the CIA does? The CIA arrests hackers and then they hire them.
Right. Use them to find. Yep, exactly.
They arrest hackers. They say, oh, no, we got to get you out of here because you are infiltrating even our defenses. They let them sit in jail, maybe like a week or two, maybe a month. They're like, look, you can stay in here or you can come work for us and you can actually shore up our defense system. That's how the technology gets that much better. That's how these firmware companies and these antivirus companies get where they are, because they use hackers who know how to get through and know all the loopholes to build the defenses. The same thing we can do in our communities, where we can see people not going down the right path, but see the value in what they know how to do and show them that it's valuable. Because a lot of the times we undervalue ourselves is why we fall into a lot of these lives. Absolutely. Oh, you don't think you're intelligent, but you're intelligent enough to know how to mess up this, how not to mess up this count. You know how much product you sold. You know how much you need to get back. You know this. You're a businessman.
Right. That's exactly what it is.
Businesswoman.
Yeah.
Like, and even on like out of the drugs, even if you look at from the stripper culture, find value in her. Tell her she knows how to sell. She knows how to market. She knows how to do this. How can you influence her to do something else? And show her value.
Right.
This is how we
those same skills can be used. Exactly. And just seeing, because I find that very harmful. A lot of people I know who have good intentions, they're just constantly tearing down people, and telling them how they need to be something else or do something else, look like something else. And it's like, we're not all meant to play the same role. You are valuable. You know what I mean? You can still be valuable on the team. Again, it's a team effort. Like if you as the salesman is not wearing the same uniform as the mechanic, like we just have to understand we can play different roles in this whole, because we come across these like respectability politics. We all have to look a certain way or, sound a certain way. And it's just, like you said, that's what a real leader would do, is to just see the value in people and know how to utilize them on the team. And including us, because what does it do if you're throwing people away who you can be, who we need? Again, it's a team effort.
Just to bring the picture just a little bit clearer, LeBron James is a leader. He wears shorts and tennis shoes. The coach, also a leader, wears a full suit. They aren't going to be presented in the same way. They have similar value to the team. They don't play the same role on the team. And sometimes the coach will say something And it might not resonate with the team, but let it come from LeBron. It means more because he's in the thick of things. Let it come from Master P. Let it come from a Tip. Let it come from a Killer Mike. Let it come from a Jay-Z, a Diddy. And now you wonder why, Rock the Vote and Vote or Die actually got more people to the polls, is because the people that I actually listen to are telling me to do it.
Right.
When Cardi B is being active as learning politics and she's bringing her audience along with her, we don't say, oh, why is Cardi B the person that they're talking to? Cardi B is going to reach people that you probably weren't going to reach because they weren't listening to you in the first place.
And she's already speaking a language that you speak, and so she's able to translate that and deliver it to the people who need to hear it, in her community, people who are following her. It's just, man, we just got to really be smart about this. Stop throwing people away. Stop trying to cancel everybody. And, or try to, I think because we've also been used to this, like, idea of like categorizing everybody, or like, it's a fascination with labeling and boxing people, and it's supposed to look like this and be like this, and I think we really just have to just see how damaging that can be, because a lot of us, we do bring a lot of value, like even like having tattoos and stuff, for example. Like a lot of people are against, just certain piercings and tattoos, and like, well, no, you too much of a rebel, you too far gone, and we're supposed to be this, you're supposed to, to look like a lady, to be a lady, you have to do this. It's just like, it's so many different things, so many different restrictions that we place on ourselves and on each other, and just kind of, we disregard each other like that. And I mean, that's why I like to, I was listening to Malcolm X's speech, The Ballad of the Bullet, earlier today. And just think about that. Yeah, and he started it out talking about, what I mean, like just dropping your religious beliefs or affiliation, because we have all these different, all these differences, and that's something personal to you. That's something that you value. Everyone won't value the same things that you value, won't believe the same things that you believe. So instead of letting that deter us from coming together when we need to come together, let's actually get to the issues that we all are united on, something that we all have in common. And like, I love how he actually brought that in, just kind of giving respect to like, okay, he's a Christian minister, he's a, so and so, and I'm a, whatever I am. I love how he just kind of laid that out. Like, we're not gonna sit here and argue about this. We need to actually get to, something that's affecting all of us, and we need to approach this with the same manner. If somebody's in the hood and they live a certain lifestyle, they have a certain profession, something you don't necessarily approve of, that's fine. That's you. That's your personal, what you chose to do and what you chose not to do. But we can't just throw people away because of where they are, and what they look like, and
what they do.
Exactly.
I strongly believe there's value in everybody, or else they wouldn't be here. Right? Somebody has a piece to play. Just like, was it yesterday that we were talking about the spleen and the gallbladder?
Right.
Like, they're technically removable, and yes, you can live and function without them, but they are there for a reason. Something is missing when those pieces aren't there. So we got to respect and value everybody. When you stub your toe on the door, your whole body goes down.
You feel that,
like,
right?
You're
you
like,
feel that pain everywhere.
I have been undervaluing this pinky toe for I don't know how long, but now that it is aching, all the rest of my body is functioning just fine, but I still am like. So
a lesson I learned after having surgery was like how many other, like the other muscles and parts that have to work, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, I didn't think that it would feel that way. I was like, I didn't realize how much I use my abdominal muscles. I didn't realize You know, like that stuff is real. We have to just, it's
Yeah,
all
man.
moving parts of it, you know?
We have to be very respectful of everybody's role, everybody's position, especially when they're actually trying to be productive.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you tear down somebody's
Exactly.
attempt? Like
So
there
frustrating.
it's just irritating to me because I don't understand what the end goal is for those people who are constantly complaining about things. Like, we have to be results oriented. We have to be solution oriented. We have to want the result more than we want how we get there. It's like a
Right.
math problem. You ever been in math class and you got the right answer, but your teacher is telling you, no, I want you to do it this way? What does it matter? I got the right answer.
Right. Right. Oh,
I
that
do
got on my nerves too. Like, we don't all have to learn the same.
I do
That will always be
multiplication.
my problem.
Like, I like the X. Some people like multiplication with the parentheses. Some people like the multiplication with the dot. Some people like it vertical. Some people like it horizontal. It's going to give you the same answer so long as you follow the order of operations. And it's like,
Right.
we get so caught up in how the formula looks.
Yeah.
Is the answer right?
Right.
Like, what are we doing? It's just, yes, it's frustrating.
But
So
that's, I
one
mean,
of the
we see in so many examples, so many ways that we just don't know. We don't know what the end result is. We don't know what the agenda is. You know, so it's just, we have to just reckon with that. We have to understand, you know, and get to that point of
I
understanding.
just I want to talk to the people who are on all sides of this. I want to talk to our conscious people and let you know that your awareness is wonderful. We love it. It's positive. It's valuable. But don't let your awareness start to look at every little microscopic error that somebody is making. Like, we don't need to look at everything under a microscope,
Hmm.
right? If I can see it and it's going well, if you looked at everything under a microscope, we wouldn't do anything.
Yeah.
You wouldn't touch your table. You
Right.
probably wouldn't eat your food once you see everything that's on it. It's good
Right.
enough with your eyesight, right? You can see that whatever it is that you eat, and you don't see all the
The
microbes and the
microscopic
amoeba
level.
and all that stuff crawling on it. Because trust me, it's
We'll be
there.
sitting up in a corner like, ooh.
Like, so, like, don't scare yourself out of productivity, right?
Hmm.
Don't aware yourself out of progress. And then
Yeah.
for those who have yet to find your value, there is value in whatever knowledge you do have. And somebody is going to have to be able to speak life into those people as well, which is why I'm spending so much time on Master P. Because honestly, a lot of the stuff that I'm doing now for our people is me being influenced by Master P and not putting limitations on himself,
Right.
and showing us that way. Like, I'm talking about from 96, I was engulfed and like, wow. And then I started listening. I've been listening to a lot of No Limit lately.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of my favorite songs, especially even before I knew the No Limit Chronicles was coming up. And Black Owned and Clowning. Black Owned, like in 95, 96, We Buy Black and all these things weren't even that popular, right?
Hmm.
Master P was putting that in his music in the mid 90s, before we had got back onto this let's support Black business tip all the
Right.
way, right? It wasn't. And of course, there are always remnants. There are always circles who were on this the whole time. Of course, we're not discounting those people. I'm talking about, it wasn't in the public consciousness of people saying, I am going to intentionally buy Black. I'm
Hmm.
going to do this. And we weren't like vocally saying this in the
Yeah.
90s, right? As a general public of the Black community. Now it's become more and more, you know, resounding. But this is in almost every song. Like, listen to the hits. They talk, somebody drops that No Limit is black owned. And the fact that, you know, they get to do what they want to do. Master
Yeah.
P got into he had a platinum album. One of his albums went platinum, and he saw how much money he made. Because the record label, they didn't realize that he was gonna sell as much when they made that agreement with him. They just agreed, you know, 15% to distribute, and then they got another 5% to like ship and label.
Mhm.
So it started off as 85-15 and then ended up at 80-20. So when he got the first gold album and then that first platinum, and then they saw they check and they saw he they was like, oh, this ain't right. And so Master P thought, not like a record producer, not like the stiff suits in the boardroom. He was like, hold on. If we release an album every month, we can make that much more money. And then they tried to tell him that he couldn't do it. He was like, hold on, I own this. I own 80% of this. We gonna do it, and this
Right.
is how it's gonna get done. And he said them, they couldn't say anything. He also said, because I'm bringing in so much money, I deserve an office in your building.
Right.
And they gave him a corner office in their
That's crazy.
building, in their suite, because he was so valuable to them. And he owned all of his masters. He owned all of the label. He owned the production side. He knew, and he owned his own release schedule.
Yeah.
So when you
Powerful,
saw,
man. Powerful.
and just the marketing and the product and the promotion, like, okay, you only know Master P. On the last page of Master P's CD cover, it's all the other artists on No Limit and they album covers of what's coming next.
Yep.
And like, he was the first to do that. And it was like, okay,
Talk about putting
so
a team on, man. Master
exactly,
P
putting
been
them on.
about it.
And nobody has ever come out and said anything about Master P owing them anything. Master
Right.
P paid people.
You
He
pay him
didn't.
what you owe him.
If people wanted to leave, he didn't hold them to their country. Like, I don't want to work with nobody. Don't want to work with me.
Exactly.
And it's still cool with everybody. Everybody who stayed on the label. Everybody who left. And like, he actually ushered Snoop out of the door and was like, okay, we got a 3-year record deal. On that last album, Dr. Dre was back, Nate Dogg was back, and he like just blessed him out of the door. He could have said, no, I'm a sign Snoop forever and keep Snoop. He said, no, I want you to go and you learn from here. Now go be your boss. Be your
That's
own
beautiful,
boss.
Man. That is beautiful.
Leaders that make
Talk about
other
teaching
leaders.
people how to fish rather than just giving them fish. Oh.
And also not looking at them as just property, as money. Like, Master P doesn't make any money off of Snoop anymore. And he doesn't care. He set him up. He could have made money off of all the hits that came after No Limit, the Drop It Like It's Hots and all that stuff. He could have still had him under contract. He said, nah, I don't work like that. I want to create other businessmen. And you can see it now, like, even just the diversification, just being black owned, being able to get his son a show at Nickelodeon. And now Romeo started Rap Snacks.
Yeah.
Like,
I didn't even know that.
An empire. That's how you build an empire.
Man. That's just innovation, the genius. And I mean, I think just seeing it, like I said, one of the most inspiring things, just learning from him and seeing like how, you can come out of just even one place or profession or whatever, and just see how all of these doors, you have to kick these doors open, right? Because when we talk about anything from politics to whatever, however we're used to seeing how, things being run, and we get discouraged because it's like, well, and start to think, well, they just won't let us in. Are we trying to actually kick our way in the door? And he's one of the type of people that he'll kick down that door and he'll be
Look,
bringing people in. He put the signs up like, hey, come over here, y'all. He trying to show you how to do it, like, for free.
And that's the point. He made the blueprint of how to do it. And it's available. And it's not like, oh man, Master P, that's unrealistic. We can't do that. Master P got $10,000 from his grandfather's life insurance. He took that, got the record store, went from the record store to a record label, went from that 10,000 became that hundreds of millions, close to $1 billion that he's worth now.
Right. I remember reading in the 90s, like, his No Limit was priced at like it was named at like 110 million or something like that, and I'm like, man, and he wasn't planning on stopping no time soon.
This man not only paid all his artists, he bought all of them a house in a country club that was mostly white people, right? And bought all of them a car. And that car and that house didn't take away from the money that they made from the music.
Wow.
It was just like, you and the family, this is what you get. You own the house. It's not in his name. It's in your name. The car is in your name.
Man.
So if you want to sell it, you can do whatever you want.
That's beautiful.
That's
I need a Master P in my life. I need Master P. I need to know this man. Yeah,
I'm putting it out in the air. I'm going
to
interview Master P in the next 2 years.
Okay, I'm gonna be right there. I'm be right there with you.
Yeah. Nah, but I mean, that's just that Black ownership, and even just talking about it and laying that egg, planting that seed, and having it just out there, and then just letting everybody around him know, look, this is what we can do. This is how we can function.
Right.
There is nothing that we cannot do. There are no limits to what we can do. From the projects, $10,000. Just being smart with it. So,
and courageous.
Knowing your value, knowing your own worth. And, this dives into the political conversation we were talking about, knowing our worth as constituents. So if anybody wants to be on that list of people, right? Because I know the 30 that I'm going after, but anybody watching who wants to be included in this thing that I'm doing, just email me. And I'm going to put it up on the screen. It's already scrolling at the bottom, but I know sometimes people don't be paying attention to the bottom of the screen. So I'm not even going to, judge y'all for that. But I want y'all to email me directly. Don't even go to the website. Email me if you want to be in this campaign where we are going to start holding our puppets accountable. We are the puppeteers. Okay? Email me. And we're going to start, I would say, by Monday. Today is Thursday. I'm going to contact a lot of people between today and tomorrow. Between Saturday and Sunday, we're going to set the agenda. By Monday, we should be ready to write letters, write emails, and then also make those phone calls. Like, if we get into the rhythm of doing this on a bi-weekly basis, let's say we do it every 2 weeks and we pick another city.
Right. Put the pressure, apply the
to put
pressure.
that pressure on. And we do that. And African Unity Initiative, just to let you guys know, we don't just do things for the moment. This is going to be something that we do from this point forward. This is a play. This is our political play. Like our community activism is called Bringing the Neighbor Back to the Hood campaign. It's called campaign like a political campaign. The only difference is ours don't end when people vote. It just keeps going. We just keep resetting the agenda. We just keep resetting and keep moving the goalposts. Okay, we reached that. Okay, now what can we do beyond that? Oh, we reached that. What can we do beyond that? There's always something to do. How do we maintain the progress that we made here?
Yeah.
Right? Too often we build a new building and then, we say we don't get anything new. And after 2 weeks, after 2 months, after 2 years, it looks dilapidated already. We have to take care of our own. Nobody's going to come in and clean up our own community. We got to make sure that.
No, we should just have that pride automatically. Like even, I was just talking to someone about, like how, when we're in our communities and we see like it looks all run down and stuff and different facilities, different things we have. And why is it always that it looks so torn, so run down and there's people living here, like in certain areas, like we'll, especially if it's already put together, it already has like a, a certain feel behind, or, we just have an idea about this place. Like we'll be encouraged to like pick up a piece of trash that's on the ground, and throw it where it's supposed to be. When you walk in a lot of our neighborhoods that's run down and just trash everywhere, it's like it's showing that we don't even have a sense of pride in where we are. And one thing I noticed, like traveling in different places, like some people would just have like dirt, like, in front of their homes, like, not even like concrete or anything laid down, but they are sweeping the dirt. Like they're sweeping the dirt to make the dirt look, nice. And we can't even keep something together, because I think that also, like, just imagine if you're living in your house, your own living space, your personal, home, and you have it looking all crazy. You're not going to feel good about going there. Like it's just somewhere, you just sit. I wouldn't want to sit and eat in somebody's house that looks crazy. I wouldn't want to, continue to build and add things there, and we can't even take care of what we have. Like, and it's just crazy because I've seen, being in LA, being from LA, and seeing how they'll like, add a few different features to a local park, or just add little, how they do like the workout. They start putting the workout equipment and different things in the parks. And then next thing you know, it got like graffiti on it. It's all something broken off. And it's like, do we care about stuff? Do we care? Like, what we gonna do? You gonna carry those same habits when you do get something. So I don't know. It's just, we have to really just, I think, take pride in it and what we do have, and always strive for more. We can strive for more, but we have to maintain healthy habits. Like even when it comes to managing our personal finances, a lot of times, people will say, if you mismanage your money when you barely got any, when you get rich, you maintain those same habits, you ain't gonna have no money after so long. We just have to get in the practice of it.
And that's why we have to take inspiration from people who have shown us how to take $10,000 and turn it into multi-millions, right? That's why we have to put value onto people who are showing you. Like everybody, every lesson, everything that you learn isn't going to be spoon-fed to you. Sometimes you just got to pick up what's out there.
Right.
Sometimes stuff is out there, it's being presented to you, and you have to take it and snatch it. I've learned lessons from watching cartoons. I was watching Hey Arnold one day, and somebody was struggling in math, and they was like, that everything that is every product in the 9 timetable, if you add it together, it equals 9.
Oh, right. I saw that. Yeah. I saw that little trick.
18, 1 plus 8, 9. 27, 2 plus 7, 9. 36, 3 plus 6, 9. Every It doesn't matter how far you go, how big the numbers go, it will always equal 9. I pulled that from a cartoon, just watching it one day as a child. I was like, that's dope. We have to be responsible for learning stuff. We got to find value in everything that comes in and act like our digestive system. Intake the positive and then discard the waste. And so I hope that we learn those lessons. We find value in everyone. We hold ourselves accountable. We value ourselves and our position. Like I said, everybody is a leader. Everybody has a part to play. Find out what your strengths are, what it is that you enjoy doing, and you can find something to do productively with that. Trust me, there's a lane for everybody.
Right.
Michelee, let them know where they can find you.
You can find me at Michelee the Maker on social media, on Twitter and Instagram, and also mishmashworld.com for my personal website, and Mishmash World on Instagram for my business page.
Yeah, and African Unity Initiative can be found at africanunity.us to get involved in all the different things that we're doing. You can DM us on social media at African Unity, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, all of it. We are always looking and responding to comments. And again, today, when we say actualize African Unity, email me. Be a part of this mailing campaign that we're about to do to hold our politicians accountable. They're our representatives, and we get to set the agenda. We are setting an agenda, right? And we're going to continue to do it, and we're going to continue to advance it, not just until November, until forever.
Right.
This is how we make sure that we hold our standards and we're not limiting it to one city. This can be done virtually. It can be done for us, by us, in any place. So
And
long as
check
we're
out
aware of it.
Yeah, check out Ice Cube's contract with Black America, and
exactly.
because it's something that's being done right now, and something that's definitely going to benefit us all. And just to get into the conversation and figure out what you can do and what your individual responsibilities are, because again, if we're working as a team, everyone plays their role. So just get into it, just try to learn more, encourage more. You can find your leader, find somebody who is speaking the language that you are, that you're
Speaks
speaking.
to
And
you.
just as long as you get the message, it don't matter how, as long as if you have a message to deliver, as long as they get the message. Don't be mad that they listen to somebody else and they ain't listening to you. We are all just trying to get, together. We trying to go far together.
Justice for Breonna Taylor. We will demand it until the sun comes home. We demand justice for Jacob Blake, for Ahmaud Arbery, for George Floyd, for Rayshard Brooks, for
It's
everyone
still not
who
even
has been,
all of these.
and that's just 2020, right? We have to go back and demand justice for Sandra Bland. Still hasn't happened. Demand justice for Freddie Gray. Demand justice for Eric Garner. We have to keep these things going, and we can restart these conversations with making sure that we own our own constituency. We own our rights. We own our value, and we don't underestimate it. And we'll be back with you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching. We love you all.
Making safe